Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, this video is for our CRISPR Therapeutics stockholders, and I'm making this video because I recently discovered some new information that kind of makes me feel a little more optimistic about CRISPR Therapeutics, and I think that all those positives from that information has not been priced in. Plus, there is also a bit of a risk because the Trump administration is canceling everything that the Biden administration has done. And the positive boost that I'm talking about has come from the Biden administration. So there is always the risk that it's likely to be canceled as soon as it comes into light. So with that caveat, I think I would like to give you a quick preview of what exactly I'm talking about so that you can make your own judgments on what is the possible impact on CRISPR Therapeutics. With that said, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. Behind me, you are looking at the screen of cms.gov, and out here we have the cell and gene therapy access model. This model was introduced by the Biden administration, and it was supposed to become activated in January of this year. I have been searching for states which would have enrolled into this program. I only found evidence of California having enrolled or applied to enroll for this program. I haven't seen any other state that has applied so far. There might be, but I haven't been able to find them. So the idea is that under this scheme, under this cell and gene therapy access model, the government will negotiate with the cell and gene therapy providers like CRISPR for Casgevy or Vertex for Casgevy, and that will be provided to the patients through the states who have enrolled for this particular scheme. Now, there is no fixed amount that is going to be paid per patient. It's a negotiation process, and it will unfold as time goes by. And that's the overall general layout of this scheme. So I'm just going to explain in brief what this whole program is about. So the first question is, what is the CGT access model? The CGT access model basically is the cell and gene therapy access model, and it's a program created by CMS, or Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the website that you are seeing behind me. And this is done to help Medicaid patients to get access to life-changing treatments, especially expensive but powerful new gene therapies like those for sickle cell. And in fact, the first program of CMS is squarely focused on sickle cell, and fortunately for them, they have sickle cell disease gene therapies available, and Casgevy is the foremost among them. And gene therapies can be expensive upfront, but might save a lot of money in the long term and reducing the need for hospital visits and ongoing treatment. So in a way, this is front loading the expenses and thereby reducing the expenses for the government through the lifespan of the patient. And also it improves the quality of life for the patient. So that's the main focus out here. And the reason why they started with sickle cell disease is because sickle cell disease is a genetic blood disorder that mostly affects people from certain racial and ethnic backgrounds. It causes pain, frequent hospital visits, and complication. And gene therapy is already available that offers a chance to fix the root cause of the disease and not just treat the symptoms. We are talking about functional cure by Casgevy and the therapy from Bluebird Bio. So the question is, how does it work? So for this, I'm going to show you a graphic. This graphic is available in the website, and you can go and click it to see how it works. But I think mostly the patients will be interested in looking at this level of detail. But it can also give you as an investor an idea of how the funds flow might happen and how long the treatment takes and so on and so forth. So let me just briefly explain this graphic to you. So in this, our character is called Maya. She's the patient. She learns about gene therapy and discusses it with her doctor. She gets tested to see if she's a good candidate. She then prepares for the therapy with consultations and coordination. She receives the therapy, then she gets follow-up care and regular monitoring. And this journey shows how easier access to gene therapy can improve someone's health and reduce burdens on the healthcare system. So that's the way they have put all those things into a simple graphic so that a patient can easily understand how this thing works and what to expect. And behind the scenes, CMS negotiates with drug companies to decide on fair pricing, and states can choose to join the program and make deals with these companies using terms CMS has negotiated. And CMS helps states with the process of putting the agreement in place, tracking how well it works, and making improvements to the whole process, so that maybe 3 or 4 years down the line, this graphic that we showed here might change. There may be additional steps, or there may be some steps removed. So they are going to do continuous improvement to the process to make it much better, optimum for the patients as well as for the states and the provider. So it's a voluntary state by state approach. Any state that wants to join can join. There is no compulsion, and states could join from January 2025 through to January 2026. So right now it's the enrollment period, it is early days, and they can apply for extra funding to run the program, but that is optional. So basically, in short, the CGT access model provides Medicaid patients to get gene therapy by making it easier for states to work with drug makers and afford this expensive treatment. And it starts with sickle cell disease, but it could grow to include more diseases as the time goes by. So one of the main concerns out here is about preserving reproductive capability for after the therapy. And a certain amount of money is included here from the gene therapy provider to freeze eggs and do necessary procedures to preserve fertility in case after the treatment fertility is lost, they still have the opportunity to have a family. So that cost has also been built into this. So it's pretty good. And so far I have only seen one announcement from a state applying to join for this scheme, and that state happens to be California. So California has applied to join this initiative. This is the most information that I have with me at this point of time. But California is one of the biggest states. It has the biggest GDP in United States. And that should be a shot in the arm for these companies, especially for CRISPR. And already CRISPR has got tie-ups with other countries like Saudi Arabia, and they are all rich countries who are able to afford for this payment. So between Vertex and CRISPR Therapeutics, I think they are expanding the opportunity. And there is also another little bit of a wrinkle that has been addressed in this scheme. It's basically to tackle the situations where qualified qualified treatment center, or as some of these companies call them, a specialized center where patients can come in and their blood cells can be harvested and modified and reinfused in them, thereby giving them the sickle cell treatment. If those kind of treatment centers are not available within the state, this model provides for how they can access it in some other place. So those things have also been worked out. It's all details in the nitty-gritties, but right now this is all the information I have. The reason why I'm feeling optimistic is that earlier this was all just talk, that there would be some kind of a funding, but now we actually see policies in place and we see an enrollment mechanism in place. This is very early days. California has already applied, as I showed you the press release. There will be other countries, other states which will also apply for this, and as a result of which the market for SCD therapies, whether it is Bluebird or it's CRISPR Therapeutics, it gets solidified, and you can have a base count, and then estimating the revenue for these companies becomes less risky and more predictable, because you can see the numbers here. And as the years go by and we get global numbers along with the US numbers, those things will be able to stabilize the price for CRISPR Therapeutics. And right now, if I look at the CRISPR Therapeutics share price, it seems to me like the share price is very inexpensive considering all these groundbreaking developments that have happened. Let us look at the current status, right? So I'm just going to recalibrate this chart because I want to draw some trend lines, and I want to show you how the price has been behaving. So I would take a trend line from here to here and say that is the resistance line, and this bottom here happens to be the support line, and we had dipped way below when the tariff was announced and there was all these kind of disturbances happening. But today you can see CRISPR Therapeutics is up to 38.80. It gained up around 2.59%. But the most striking thing is that when I look at this chart, I do not see that the market has actually registered the fact that states would start enrolling in January. Probably the expectation is that many red states will decide not to enroll. But the fact that California has already applied gives me a whole lot of hope, because California is a huge state and it has got a good amount of funding available, and it's a very progressive state, so it is the first in the line. There may be a few other states that may come in, and even without the red states, there will be sufficient amount of base demand for Casgevy as well as Bluebird Bio's therapies. And that, I think, has not been factored into the pricing out here, because we are steadily going down and we have not got that gain. One of the other reasons why we are not seeing it reflected here could be that maybe investors are thinking that the Trump administration is reversing everything that Biden administration has done, especially when it comes to funding. They rolled back the semiconductor funding. So same way they could roll back all this funding as well. So it has not happened so far, but that is the risk factor that is still present out here. So I think I wanted to bring this across to you. And we also know that CRISPR Therapeutics has got a heavy balance sheet. It has got around, I think, 1.8 to 1.9 billion dollars in its balance sheet, and that should give it a good enough runway. Plus, its tie-up with Vertex should be another big support for it to ride out this really difficult time. And Casgevy revenues have not really come into CRISPR yet. And we'll probably see them with the next earnings. Our earnings are coming up on 12th of May 2025, and at that time I think we'll start seeing concrete numbers building up as a foundation for the revenue model for CRISPR Therapeutics, and that I think should be a positive. Plus progress in CTX 211 for type 1 diabetes and the 2 oncology streams. Those things should definitely help CRISPR, because they are fully owned by CRISPR. So I'm hopeful that CRISPR would be able to survive the current turmoil and come out on the other side in a much better position, because when it comes to governments are much more longer duration players, and especially when the going is tough, that's when they put more money out for the citizens. So I'm thinking California is going to seize on this, and even if the federal government withdraws this, California might try to reach out to CRISPR Therapeutics and Bluebird Bio and try to negotiate some kind of a deal for the patients in California. So that's my hope, and I would like to hear from you guys what you think. So if you already knew about this, and if you already invested in it because of this reason, please let me know. But personally, I'm thinking that the catalyst that this should have been has not been reflected in the price chart out here, and we are at very low levels of pricing where it looks very attractive. Of course, at this point of time, the market is very volatile. As I mentioned in all my previous videos as well, the international community is not as confident about the US dollar and the treasuries, and also the trade war due to the tariffs is causing a whole lot of uncertainties. And when there is uncertainties, companies do not invest and grow their business, and they do not invest to replace facilities that are to be upgraded or that have to be rebuilt. So all those things come to a stop, and the first effect is felt in terms of layoffs and unemployment, and then the demand drops and so on and so forth. And at this point of time, because of the tariff coming in, there is a whole lot of problems for the Christmas inventory, which will be felt very acutely when we approach Christmas. There is a lead time for all goods to be manufactured elsewhere and bought into United States. And the reason why Trump started this whole tariff thing is because very less is manufactured in United States. Simple things like socks, thermometers, thermostats, stereo players, shoes, all these things are manufactured in China and elsewhere. Now, the company in the United States has to place an order for it in China or somewhere else, and it has to order it in sufficient numbers, approve the design and everything, do quality control check, then China or other country manufactures it, then it has to go into containers, and then it has to come to the ports, and from the ports it has to be taken to the warehouse and then packaged and distributed with the branding. Now, all of this process takes a long period of time. So anything that you pick up from a shelf in a store or order on Amazon, it takes time to have been planned, designed, manufactured, quality control checked, packaged, branded, and sent across to the shelf. So that whole process is now being delayed because people have to pay a whole lot of tariff. And I saw in MSNBC, I think Stephanie Rule had a chart and the case of a US manufacturer who was trying to sell stuffed dolls. She placed the order in China for the stuffed dolls for $100,000 worth of dolls, and these dolls were supposed to be for Christmas. So they are being manufactured in China and they are ready, but they can't come here because she needs to pay them another $100,000 due to the tariffs. And once she manages to, she can't afford to do it right now, so her $100,000 worth of dolls is stuck in China. But even if she manages to pay the $100,000 and gets it into the US, then she's going to charge it from the customers. Now extrapolate these dolls to things like shoes, ties, shirts, t-shirts, school bag, backpack, anything you name. All of them are going to be more expensive. And at this time, Trump is attacking the Fed and saying they are too late in cutting rates. So you do not cut interest rates when you anticipate inflation. You want to keep a control on the demand. So Powell doesn't want to do that right now. So this fight between the White House and Powell is creating a lot of headwinds for the US dollar. The US dollar is below dollar index is below $1 for quite a while now. The spread between 2-year and 10-year yield is increasing, which means that people are preferring more of the short-term yield so that they can manage their risk in a very short-term manner. They don't trust United States in the longer term of 10 years. So the 10-year yields are going up because the price of those bonds are going down. There is less demand for it. That's again a very bad situation. And you look at the price of gold and Bitcoin, they are just going up. So all this indicates that the US itself as a location is becoming unreliable. So from a CRISPR Therapeutics investor point of view, what I would say is that we just zoom out and pay more emphasis to the Middle East and Europe, where again CRISPR Therapeutics and Vertex have got their product and tie-ups with the governments for treatment. So those things will be much more attractive and maybe a lesser revenue from the United States, and the price adjustments will happen. But I'm thinking definitely it's not going to be $38 for CRISPR Therapeutics. It's going to be much higher than that. So I still think there is some opportunities out here. That's my 2 cents. It's my personal opinion and not financial advice. So please do your own due diligence before you invest in it. Personally, I don't have any CRISPR Therapeutics shares. But I'm thinking that when the market settles down, I think we have not yet reached the bottom of the market. Once the market reaches down and we get a bottom signal, then I think I would definitely like to look at CRISPR Therapeutics, maybe just for 50 or 100 shares. That's the maximum I might go for it. And also we have Illumina, which has gone in with a tie-up with Tempus AI for using AI in gene diagnosis and sequencing. So that's also going to be a big positive for Illumina. And Illumina and CRISPR are 2 gene companies in our watch list that I'm very confident about. So that's where I would like to leave this video, my friends. And I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think about the genomics segment at this point of time? The watch list companies that we have out here. Are you feeling optimistic? How deep in the red are you? And do you take advantage of the covered calls and puts, and have you used those kind of mechanisms to moderate the average cost of your holdings? Please let me know about that and put it in the comment section so that I can get a feel of what's happening in the genomic sector with our investors who are watching our channel. So with that, my friends, bring this video to an end. Thanks and have a great day. If you like this video, please press a like out there, and I'll understand that you need more of these kind of videos. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and help grow the channel. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.